Word of the day today is yesterday. Like the Beatles song, and then Boys II Men did a great rendition of it as well. Yesterday, when we did our Twitter poll, and then we got a lot of the reaction, and also on our text board, we found out that 33% of the fans still don't have faith in Jalen Hurts. And as we look ahead to the Super Bowl, when we look at how this Eagles team has won 10 games in a row, and I know Kincade and Salciunas were talking about different things with the defense and things like that, all of it's moot if the quarterback's not good enough. You can't hide a quarterback in the modern NFL. And 33%, we recognize that's not the majority, but that's a lot of fans. 33% of fans just yesterday, so not a month ago, not after the Carolina game where the recency of one bad game could make you maybe think differently, but yesterday, after the big win, after Jalen Hurts was tremendous throwing the ball, 33% of the fans still said they didn't believe in him. Where does that come from? Where does that come from? 33%? Because here's the truth of the matter. They're wrong. Now, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everybody. But they're wrong. Look at the man's resume to where this amount of fans don't believe. What you're basically saying is, I won't believe in anything he does until he wins a Super Bowl. We don't treat every single player in this city like that. Because getting there was definitely good enough for Bryce Harper. Definitely good enough for Bryce Harper, for example. Just getting there. Now, Jalen Hurts played very well in the Super Bowl. You saw that. And he's played very well. He's done nothing but win. He's been a starter for 4 years. This is not going to be the fourth straight year in the postseason. The resume does not add up. Again, this is yesterday when we should have been feeling our best. Who knows what happens if we ask that on Friday going into the Washington game? When we're on a high, that bigger percentage is still doubting the franchise quarterback. It doesn't make sense given his resume. It doesn't make sense given what you've seen. I recognize that it's not the majority, but that number is far too high. That should be 15%. Maybe 20 on a hater day. But to be 33%, it just makes me think about how the overall, when I say how we treat our athletes, I don't mean that any athlete in Philadelphia are victims. The stars are all rich. So I don't feel bad for rich people, like basically ever. To be honest with you, just go count your money. But it does say something about the perception because ultimately we locked the bandwagon. That's closed. But if 33% of the people don't believe in the quarterback, that means 33% of the people are saying this team, despite being the best team in football, can't win the Super Bowl. Because let me tell you, you can't win the Super Bowl without a good quarterback. That's why this comes up, because it's not just what you're saying literally, it's the add-on to what you say. It's the add-on to what you say. You know, like Ricky and I one time in the hallway were talking to somebody, no names or anything like that, and the person was talking about how tall a guy had to be. Remember that one time, Ricky, where a person was like, you got to be he has to be this tall. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. What you're also saying that is there could be some great guy that checks all your boxes. So not talking about Savannah, by the way. That checks all the boxes, and if he's 5'10", it's a no. Well, when you say you don't trust Jalen Hurts, you still don't believe in him, you're saying you don't believe in this team. And Ricky Bo at 10-2, you've been around a lot of good teams, Ricky Bo. You've been around bad teams, too. How can 33% of the people basically still be saying the Eagles can't win the Super Bowl?
That is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my life. I think about the steps that they took this year, okay? And we all did. To open it up, you're going against the Packers. Check mark, beat the Packers, right? The Bengals was the next team that everybody was afraid of. The Eagles beat the Bengals by 20. 20. Then, of course, the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, they should have shown up for the game. Beat them by 28. All right, then the Commanders actually put up a little bit of a game. Still beat them by 8 points. Okay?
Yeah, and that was with Elliott missing 7 points worth of
yes. The Rams. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. Yeah, you only beat them by 17. Okay? And then the almighty Ravens beat them by 5 down in their place. Okay? And then the Steelers. 14 could have been worse. It could have been worse. Let's face it.
They took the foot off the gas.
How about a mercy rule? We'll just run out the clock for you guys, all right? We don't need to beat you up any more than we already did. This team can do it all. They could do it passing. They proved that. They could do it rushing the football. They have proven that. They could do it defensively. They have definitely proven that to me. And I will say this much. The most improved thing that has happened to this team has been Vic Fangio and that defense. I will say that. I really believe that. They have changed so much in one full season. It is unbelievable where they are right now and how good they actually are, and each guy knows what his job is. That being said, this offense, I still think we have not seen the best of yet. I mean the best possible game where they could put up 40 points a game. I really believe that at times. And I think you look at what happened in the Steelers game. They figured out we'll just run out the clock in the game. That took 10 and a half minutes. That's bordering on a full quarter. You kept the football on a possession. That to me is something special. You can't do that if you don't have a good offense. You can't do that. This team is good. This team, the coaching staff, and I think this is one thing that holds a lot of people back. The coaching staff is actually very, very good. And I'm talking head coach all the way down to Stoutland U and this and that. Everybody has done their job. Everybody understands what their job is. And to me, when you have this and you have this type of camaraderie, I think this team is they're going to the Super Bowl. That is, I said this about 4 weeks ago. I believe this team is strong. I believe they're going to the Super Bowl. I believe they're healthy enough to go to the Super Bowl. They can only be beaten by themselves. And I don't even know if that's possible.
Well, here's the thing, though, Ricky. You laid out a bunch of stuff. You never mentioned the quarterback. What you laid out right there
I didn't have to.
is the same argument, though. You're being positive. But what they'll do is they're going to text and call today and say, see, Ricky mentions Fangio, the defense, they can run the ball, but they didn't mention the quarterback. I'm saying flat out at the top of the show, they'll win because of him, not despite him.
But I did say they could throw the ball.
You're right, but you cited a lot of things other than just the quarterback to start the show, and that's the part that people doubt, and that's the reason why ultimately they wouldn't win, because you cannot in 2024 win without a good quarterback. That's why the Vikings have no chance, because Darnold's not good enough. Yeah, they're a good rec team. They can win a playoff game. They cannot win a Super Bowl because Darnold's not good enough to win a Super Bowl. Ultimately, if your quarterback's not good enough, you have no chance. Jalen Hurts is good enough. Jalen Hurts is definitely good enough. But 33% of the fans out there yesterday, which is our word of the day, said he's not good enough. Meanwhile, Bryce Harper, for example, and I'm not asking anyone to not like Bryce Harper. What I'm saying is Bryce Harper has not provided any hardware here. He plays.
He's got his own hardware.
It's his individual hardware, but not as a team. Yet he is just beloved and no one doubts him. And he wins in the regular season just like Jalen Hurts wins in the regular season. And he gets to the postseason now just like Jalen Hurts does. I guarantee you if we did that poll with Bryce Harper, it'd be 97% of the people saying that he's good enough.
He'd be floating up in the air in front of everybody. I'm Bryce Harper.
And I'm not saying
Fanatic stuff.
Right. I'm not saying they shouldn't love Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's a great player.
He is a great player.
But it shows how we play favorites. We hate certain people and we love certain people. So, for the people out there that still do not believe in Jalen Hurts, I would like to hear from you today as to why. And I would like something, this is the only rule, something fact-based. Something that you can back up in some way.
Can't read a defense.
Right, because you here's the problem, and I'm not being disrespectful, because, again, I say every time I watch film, I want to say this again right at the top of the show, I never just take my film knowledge on its own. I always ask an ex-pro. I've never looked at film and just ran with it like I knew. So my thing is, how do we blindly trust in 90 seconds of a phone call and a text message that you know what you're looking at film-wise? Yeah, you know how to watch football, but when you breaking the film down, that's another level. Okay? You've never did an NFL game plan before, if that makes sense. I'm not disrespecting you. Like, no, I'm saying none of us have. Ricky hasn't either. Like, now, Ricky, when I'm watching baseball, I go to Ricky and say, well, what do you, because I don't want to just blindly say crazy things, because I think that's something that's a problem in our society. Too many people say just wild things.
Well, a
and
lot
get away
of people
with it.
see one thing and they'll run with that all season long.
Right.
It could be one play in game one of the season, and they will stick with it. But not here. That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen here. So that, in my opinion, was a mistake made by 33% of the fans yesterday.
It's kind of funny you bring that up, and the one thing that you always hear it, we hear it on the show a lot. He can't read defenses. I could imagine if he would have thrown like an incomplete pass early in the game the other day, and people had to have parties at their house. See, I told you, can't read the defense.
And
Next play, boom, 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 touchdown, and then you hear the announcer say, "Wow, he really read the defense. He knew exactly where everybody was going to be," and then it's quiet.
Right. Now, by the way, the poll question yesterday wasn't, is Jalen Hurts perfect? It was, do you believe in him? And a third of the people said no.
It is quite literally just unfathomable. He is the quarterback that does whatever it takes to win, and then somehow I feel like that is used against him because sometimes, he doesn't put up flashy numbers, and he doesn't have to, make these crazy plays all the time in the air in order for them to get the win, and somehow that's used to weaponize his ability to be a great quarterback, and it just doesn't make any sense. What other quarterback with the over 700 win percentage and who wins as much as him gets talked about like this?
No, it's insane. It's insane. And we're not saying he's perfect. It's just you don't believe in him. You don't believe in him.
Tom Brady does.
What more does he have to do?
He's either got a rushing touchdown and passing touchdown or both in all but one game.
Right.
One game, and that was the Saints game where they only scored 12 points.
Right, and that was Saquon at the end.
Or 15.
At the end. Now, and that was a crazy game very early. Yep. And also, without A.J. Brown, he lost Lane Johnson in the first quarter of that game, lost his right guard as well, and then lost Devontae Smith late in the game, and Goddard went crazy. Okay, that's a mistake that I believe that 33%, not all of you, 33% of the fans out there made.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.